I'm one of those experts. The geology firm I work at has been on and off back on this project again. The dangers associated with downstream flooding are unknown to us currently. We need boots on the ground, but the mountain is still unstable. We need to determine how much is ice and how much is mud and rock. The downstream villages are in tremendous danger if the mud debris is on top of ice debris. The entire dam could slip like a fat lady on a frozen driveway and everybody gets buried in mud. If it's all 90% rock, the river will carve out a new path and eventually return to normal. We never said anything was temporarily stable. We said that we don't know yet. That means that the people that are downstream are in grave danger. This is a comment of one of my viewers from Switzerland. Thank you so much for this insight. And we have heard from multiple press outlets that they think it's going smoothly because this huge mudslide that has come down and buried the village of Blatten and has blocked the Lonza River at a length of over 1.4 miles, 2.1 kilometers, and at a height. This is what they estimate. You see that picture here? That's the tip of a church, and they think it's at least 50 meters, if not 200 meters high. This is massive. But of course, the river will find a way through it. And we saw that after the landslide, it started damming the water and creating a lake. And unfortunately, it has destroyed the last few homes that have survived that landslide glacier collapse. And then they were flooded. And now that water has started to find a way over that mud and debris, that huge piece of rock and glacier and debris from destroyed homes and forests. So the interesting part is now, will this flow gradually, as my viewer just said, or is there more risk because that glacier ice that's in there, they don't expect it to melt fast. So if there's melting water, it could be a lubricant. And I think that his description is like, and when he speaks of dam, he doesn't mean the Verden Dam that's further downstream. They have released all the water of the lake so that they could catch something if something heavily would come down. And I want to show you that graphic while I'm talking that shows where the water could come from, where the dam is, and how many villages and how many people are downstream. And what will shock you is at the very end, where it then flows into the other river Rhone, there's over 3,200 people that have an evacuation alert. They should have their go bags ready in case they need to do this. And this is what my viewer here describes when he speaks of the dam, that mudslide. If the downstream villages are in tremendous danger, if the mud debris is on top of ice debris. And that is possible because the mountaintop was cracking. And you see the video here, how it started, how really the tip of the mountain was getting lost. And it's now 81 meters less tall. And all these rocks and all that debris was falling on the glacier. And the glacier couldn't hold it. And then the whole glacier gave way. So it could be that we have a thick layer of ice. Of course, it has all mingled on the way down. But we could have more ice on the bottom than on the top. And as he describes it, the entire dam/mud area could slip like a fat lady on a frozen driveway and everybody gets buried in mud. I guess everyone can slip. We don't want to do any body shaming with this. I have to say it sounds funny. What everyone's hoping for right now, that it's carving a new path, because that's what it's doing right now, but this is just the beginning. So we don't know how this develops because we don't know how the mix of this debris is situated there. So water is infiltrating in that mud pile from below and from the top, and it's sickering in. And then we have to see if it loosens the material, if the material starts sliding away. And now rainfall is coming, probably Monday. They first thought Saturday, but if I look at the forecast, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So additional water will flow into that lake because right now there's not enough water flowing out from that dammed lake that has formed, I have to say, over Blatten, in Blatten, over the rest of Blatten. So if rainfall comes in addition, you see how steep that valley is. The water will run down the steep slopes and it will for sure run into that lake again and put additional pressure on the dam, on the mudslide dam. So that is also a risk for the Verden Dam because, yeah, they have emptied it out, but water is flowing again. And also like meltwater, it's very warm right now. And then the future rainwater that is coming down the slopes after the clogged area. So downstream of Blatten is also filling up the dam again. So they have to see, and the problem is all the debris. They started trying to build some, not barriers, they don't want to clog the river, but catch the debris so that not everything arrives first at the Verden Dam because that creates electricity and they can't run that with the debris through the turbines. Plus there's so much sand in the river, so they have to turn off the turbines and have to divert it underneath the dam. And you don't want all that debris downstream. And the risk is also, especially where we have the mudslide, that the debris might clog it again, then the lake will start filling up again. One person is still missing. It's a 64-year-old shepherd, as it seems. So he was taking care of some sheep, and unfortunately he was in the area. So maybe he wasn't able to evacuate in time, or he wanted to bring his sheep to safety. But there have also been some videos and pictures. I was wondering what it was under the helicopter, some red round thing that was flying underneath the helicopter. And that was actually like a container for sheep. So sheep were coming out of this. They evacuated cows, they evacuated sheep, even cars. I saw a car flying underneath the helicopter. And by now they have also evacuated by helicopter trapped people that were not in the immediate danger area, but because the road and the whole valley is clogged, they couldn't get out. They were on mountain slopes and hotels or smaller homesteads. They have been flown out by helicopter as well in the meantime. How do you see what my viewer is saying? He's the expert, he's the boots on the ground. So we're hearing from officials, and I hope they're right with what they say, although the theory, what the viewer says, these two scenarios absolutely makes sense. And I'm a little worried because I do believe there's a lot of glacier rocks or debris right underneath the rock debris. So I think everyone's hoping for the solution that it's carving a valley through that debris. So following the glacier collapse in Blatten, in that Lötschental Valley, the waters of the Landslide River, they continue to flow over the debris cone right now. And approximately the same amount of water is flowing into the dammed lake behind the debris cone as it is flowing over the debris cone. So that's what the regional management team has said. But as my viewer has pointed out, we don't know what's going on inside that cone. But experts are slightly optimistic. They think that an extreme event involving a flood and mudslide has become less likely. But in Gampel and Steg, that the big settlements there, right before the Landslide River gets into the Rhone, over 3,000 people, where the Landslide River actually meets the Rhone, the population must continue to be prepared for a possible evacuation. So they don't rule out the version that it's sliding on the driveway. And cleanup in Blatten, still not possible, too dangerous. That's what the regional command staff says. And in the comments, people said, why can't they blow up that thing? No, they can't, because then it all comes down like a avalanche. That's not a good idea. So and they can't go on it with excavators, they can't go near it with excavators because it is so unstable? What if it starts sliding on the driveway? Then more people will be lost. They think that maybe on the edges of it, they could start very soon. But one interesting picture, and that is mind-blowing, is how far that debris was landing on the other side of the mountain, of the valley. So there was a photographer, and you heard, I reported about this. He was filming when everything came crashing down. And then he was feeling like, ooh, this is coming dangerously close. And the thing is, this reminds us of Mount St. Helens. That just comes to my mind. That one photographer that had his car and his motorcycle there and took this famous picture, but then saw, ooh, this is coming fast, I better run. So he took his motorcycle and he got to safety, but the car was lost. And this photographer did kind of the same. And basically people who were there, they reported this wall of dust came at us like a storm. And now you see that little tiny settlement, these little tiny houses, this got almost up there. So you might feel safe on the other side of the valley, but obviously when you see that, it was not. And the reporter who filmed that, it was a woman hanging out of a helicopter like this. I know she was attached or anything, but that's a weird feeling. I get a weird feeling just watching it. But stunning, saddening pictures from Blatten, from Switzerland. I will keep you updated. If you want to know the full story, there's so much to tell. So I have made several videos about this that they don't get too long. Check out my channel, click on videos, click on recent videos, and there's everything. Or just click on the video in the end screen. Guys, if you want to support the channel, I have a Buy Me a Coffee site where you can buy me coffees. It's greatly appreciated. Thanks for everyone who's doing this. And if you leave me a message, I can answer it with a 30-second video message. You can video me back. We can see each other, which is great. And shout out to my members. You guys are awesome. If you want to become a supporting monthly member for behind the scenes and private stuff videos, click the join button or the link in the description of this video. Everything is there, the coffee site, everything. Thanks for you super skies, and 100,000 subscribers. Can you believe it, guys? This is because of you, and I never would have imagined that. So thank you for watching. Thank you for staying with me on the pulse. Thank you for all the year, for commenting, for liking the videos, for sharing the videos, for telling me your stories, for making this beautiful community that we have on this channel. So stay safe, guys. Be prepared. I see you in the next one. Bye-bye.